piece of information for team formation, effective team formation, that it has crossed a lot of industries. If you Google DISC, there's lots of information here. And what we just did is we took the strengths of each one and put them in the corner. So I went and checked in with the interactive promoters. And who wants to shout out what the theme was for your solutions for Party Bus? Yes. We're just going to throw a party. People are going to come and it's going to be great. Okay? Okay. I stepped back into the cautious analyzer, and as I stepped in, I heard 40.2% or something like that. So what was the theme about how we're going to expand equity, diversity, inclusion in that quadrant? Data. Yeah, there you go. It matters, right? If we're just going on guesses, then it's not fact. We don't know what we're actually doing. We're just guessing. Okay, so what about the stabilizing supporters?
We were really quiet.
Okay.
We were listening to each other.
Okay.
And we talked about how we could support the other groups.
Okay.
We could take those good ideas from the yellow group.
You can help make it happen because you're super helpful. Supporters are super helpful. Okay, and then we have the decisive drivers over here. What was the theme of how you were going to do it? I don't know, but we're just going to get it done.
Quick strategic plan that we were going to execute on.
Oh, fantastic. You made a quick strategic plan that you were going to execute. Let's just go. So what's really fantastic about this is you kind of have a little bit of that experience, right? What's really fun is if I took one of you and put you in what I'll call playfully the wrong quadrant. How quick get me out of here? This is a really important thing for you to know because as you move through, and by the way, in your relationship, you might realize, oh, this makes little sense. The person that I live with, or my brother, or my sister, or my parent, they're in a different quadrant. So what's really wonderful is you can leverage the strength of those. If we took one from each team and had you up at the front, we'd have some great ideas come up. And we'd have people who were checking along the way, verifying data, making sure goals were being met, and that everybody was being heard. By bringing everybody together, we start to really have an effective team. And you're not going to actually expand much in an effective way if you're not having an effective team. So if things are already rocky, wherever you are, first, what you want to do is kind of figure that out. How do I make mistakes and how do I have conversations so that when we start to really grow and expand and bring somebody who's neurodiverse onto our team, or figure out how we're going to accommodate somebody who has a conviction history, what comes up for us when we think about bringing somebody with a conviction history onto our team. We want to make sure that we have balanced and effective teams, good communication, and maybe if the way you're hiring people is attracting a whole bunch of one part or two parts of the quadrant and you're missing some, you might want to think about that. Because if you're effective in equity and diversion and inclusion is going to be more effective. One of the things that has come to light in some of these DISC conversations with these engineering companies. So engineers tend to be cautious analyzers. It's all about the data. So then you'd have this one HR person who's probably not a cautious analyzer, probably a supporter, might be a promoter, hard to say, and realizing, wait, we need to bring a little bit more balance. We need to figure out how to do this. And so there's some great stuff. I really recommend that you Google this just because the more you know yourself and your team, the more you're going to be ready to have, bring people on board in an effective way. And the more you start to realize how human we are. Because I didn't divide you by age. When I do a workshop that's just about this topic, I divide you by age first. You don't get along as well. Okay, happiness in science, in psychology, we call this positive affect. But when we look at, I pulled up a research on this that's a meta-analysis, looked at 148 separate studies about happiness. And what that meta-analysis along all that research said is that if you have social integration, if you feel strongly connected and effectively connected to your community, you have a 91% more chance of living across your lifespan. No matter what you're navigating, 91% better chance to navigate that and stay alive at the end. I kind of like being alive. It's a goal for me at this time. These are some of the things that happens when you're happy. So I've already started to allude to why happiness matters. You need to have an effective team and you need to be well in yourself to make space for things that are uncomfortable. Because if I'm just busy beating myself up for everything I'm doing wrong, mistake, I'm probably not going to be as gracious about it. I'm probably going to be a lot more defensive in a really wonderful way. So what I'm going to invite you to do is think about how is it happiness in your life, and are you ready to start making mistakes and start stretching and growing and reaching out to people? And if you're not happy, how can you prioritize that before you do this equity and inclusion work? Because you just won't do it as well. And I think you're here because you want to do it well. And there's a lot of chapters that I know that I'm not very happy right now. So priority number one was getting that right. And in your teams, there's lots of resources, right? You know, if you have something big, you go to the Dispute Resolution Center. You want a more effective team, you can have me come out through Whatcom Community College. There's lots of ways to make sure that you're ready to do this exciting work. And so what I'd like to do before we do our next exercise is invite you to have some happiness. So I'm going to ask you all to shut your eyes and picture. Could be a family member, could be a whole bunch of puppies. And just pick that which you love and just really, really look at how much you love that which you love. Awesome. I can tell you guys are doing it because I start to see the smiles happen. I hear sighing. You just generated that. I'm going to invite you to open your eyes. Thank you for those of you that participated. You can do that anytime, anywhere. You can actually generate happiness anytime, anywhere. And when we start looking at expanding into things that are unfamiliar, that's a great place to start. Right now, hopefully, in this moment, you're feeling kind of loving. There's some worksheets that are going to get passed around now, and it's going to take a minute while they pass them around, but it will have a black and white copy of this. What I'm inviting you to do is look at these pictures. What labels, groups, thoughts, assumptions, beliefs, stories come to mind? What do you have of bringing people from this into your work, marketing to them? Each one of us will have slightly different stories and answers and labels.